Hi, I'm Tina Hudson of Completing Christ Ministries. Thank you for joining me today for Thursday Talk with Tina. If you'll remember, we've been walking through the book of James, and here in chapter 5, James has spent a great deal of time discussing the subject of patience. He talked about how the patient farmer waits for the early and latter rains to produce a bountiful crop. Then he talked about how the prophets endured and had patience in the middle of the suffering that they endured for sharing the good news that God had given them to share with others. And here in verse 11, James is going to give an example out of the history of the nation of Israel that these people would have definitely been able to relate to, and that is Job. In verse 11 of chapter 5, James says, "We count those blessed who endured. You have heard of the endurance or the patience of Job and have seen the outcome of the Lord's dealings, that the Lord is full of compassion and is merciful." And so he's saying no matter what type of suffering you're going through, think about Job. No one has ever suffered as much as Job did. He lost his wealth, he lost his children, he lost his health. His wife complained against him. His friends accused him of being guilty before God. And yet Job continued to endure patiently, being faithful to God. And so are we faithful like Job? Are we patient like Job in the midst of our suffering? I'm afraid I'm not. I would like to have the patience of Job, but at this point I don't. And so I can ask God, give me patience with the circumstances you allow in my life. Give me patience with the difficult people that I deal with on a daily basis. And then he goes on in verse 12 and he says, "But above all, my brethren, do not swear, either by heaven or by earth or with any other oath, but let your yes be yes and your no, no, so that you may not fall under judgment." And so he's saying here, don't make any kind of oaths or promises. What does this have to do with being patient in the midst of trial? Well, oftentimes we say things out of the hurt, out of the suffering that we're enduring that we really don't mean, or that we try to make bargains with God. We make promises to God that we can't keep. And so James is saying, watch your tongue in the midst of the suffering that you go through, and allow God to produce in and through your life what only He can do, and that's patience. So I pray that today, when you face difficult people, difficult situations, whatever comes your way, that you will remember patience is a virtue that God will give to any of us if we will surrender to His Lordship. Thank you so much.